Lesson 2.2 is about fraction unit rates. We're going to continue unit rates from the previous lesson. We're just going to include fractions. Example 1, we're going to find the equivalent fraction. Example A, 1A, we've got 2/3 divided by 2/4 equals what over 1? So we can start this by simply dividing 2/3 by 2/4, and then we will end up with the equivalent fraction to this. That's something over 1. We know this because if we divide the denominator 2/4 by 2/4, we get 1 for the denominator. And so we have to do the same to the numerator. We're dividing 2/3 by 2/4, and we'll get this missing blank. So we're going to work on the side to figure this out. 2/3 divided by 2/4. Remember that when we are dividing fractions, we're going to keep the first fraction, change dividing to multiply, and flip our second fraction. That'll be 8/6, which will reduce by dividing both the numerator and denominator by 2. We get 4/3, and we can simplify 4/3. 3 will go into 4 one whole time, and we get a remainder of 1, so we have 1 1/3. So 1 1/3 is an equivalent fraction. We could write it over 1, or we could write it as 1 1/3 when we've simplified this unit rate. For our next problem, we have 2/7 divided by 1/5 equals blank over 1. So once again, we can divide both the numerator and denominator by 1/5, which will give a denominator of 1, and the numerator will be the results of that dividing. So we have 2/7 divided by 1/5. We're going to change this to a multiplying problem. 2/7 times, flip our fraction, 5/1. 2 times 5 is 10. 7 times 1 is 7. So we get 10/7. And then we can go and do our long division. 7 will go into 10 one time. 1 times 7 is 7. We get a remainder of 3. So we have 1 3/7. Which once again, we could write it over 1, or we can just write it as 1 3/7 when it's simplified. Example 2, we're going to compute the unit rate by setting up a complex fraction and then simplifying. These will be little word problem scenarios. A part, Adam can eat 3/8 of a mini pizza in 1/16 of a minute. So we're going to set up a unit rate. Let's start by thinking of what our rate could compare. I would say it'd be the amount of pizza he eats per minute. So we're going to say the amount of pizza divided by the number of minutes. So he can eat 3/8 of a pizza in 1/16 of a minute. So we'll need to find out what that is over 1. So we can go to the side and say 3/8 divided by 1/16. It's 3/8 times 16/1. And we get 48/8, which actually simplifies to 6. So he can eat 6 of these mini pizzas per minute. So he is eating very quickly. B part, Megan runs 1/4 of a mile in 1/30 of an hour. So it would make sense to do this in miles per hour. Usually our time unit would be our denominator. So we're comparing miles per hour. So that's 1/4 of a mile in 1/30 of an hour. So let's figure out what this would be. I'm going to go to the side, and I say 1/4 divided by 1/30. I'm going to change it to a multiplying problem. So 1/4 times 30/1. and we get 30 over 4, which does reduce to 15 over 2. Could go to the side, do some long division. 2 will go into 15 7 times, and we get a remainder of 1 out of the 2 that we started with our divisor, so 7.5. That tells us that she can run 7.5 miles per hour. And you could use the abbreviation MPH. Part C, Janelle can make 3 1/3 bracelets in 30 minutes. How many bracelets can she make in an hour? So we're looking for the number of bracelets per hour. So we start with the fact that she made 3 1/3 bracelets in 30 minutes. So we have to think about what part of an hour is 30 minutes. And it is half an hour. And so we'll figure out what that is for 1 whole hour. So we can go to the side and say 3 1/3 divided by 1/2. Well, 3 1/3, if we go around the world, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so we get 10/3 divided by 1/2, which is 10/3 times 2 over 1, which is just 20 over 3. 3 will go into 20 6 times, with a remainder of 2 out of 3. So we get 6 2/3, which tells us she can make 6 2/3 bracelets per hour.